Hey everyone! Welcome back to Crown Corner. It's your host, Crown, here to bring you some of the most intriguing and jaw-dropping stories from around the world. Whether you're here for the drama, the laughs, or just to chill with us, you're in for a treat. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's dive into today's stories. Disclaimer: Unit 8 was rented by Rick and Tara, not owned. Last winter around January, me and my family and close friends were staying at our condo in Vermont for New Year's to celebrate, ski and so on. My dad owns a 8-unit complex our condo is in, and all but one have people up for the holidays. There is a decent amount of area for parking, but when there is a lot of people all there at once, it can get tight. So one night after returning from the mountain, we parked in the spot closest to the stairs to unload everything easier. Our parking lot isn't one with actual spots or anything because it's just gravel and dirt, so it's really just I, Dad, and first come first serve. A few hours later, my brother went to the car to get something from the car where there was a cardboard sign left on the car. The sign read, "Parking for Unit 8, handicapped," on both sides. And yes, they forgot the N in handicapped on both sides as well. Like I said, there is no specific spots for anyone. Unit 8 was one of the smaller units on the ground level, about half the size of the rest. The couple that rented there was sketchy to say the least. They had to be in their mid-20s, but we never saw them much and didn't know too much about them. Let's just call them Rick and Tara. Another 20 minutes later and I go down to the car to get some forgotten gloves. As I unlock the car, the lights alert them someone's at the car. And through the window, Rick starts yelling at me, telling me that I have to move the car by the morning or they would have it towed. At this point, I can also realize that Rick is off of something, so I subsequently ignore him, grab my things, and head back up. I get into the condo and explain to my dad the experience I just had with Rick. At this point, he'd had enough and decided he was going to go down there himself to handle things himself. So he goes down there to talk to him. My dad was really the only person that had met them before, but it was briefly during the leasing other unit. He knocks on the door, and it's about 30 seconds until Rick angrily answers the door. He crankily asks, "What do you want?" And my dad politely explains that no spots are reserved and that it's first come first serve. Rick instantly starts freaking out, saying that it's a handicapped spot and that they are going to call the landlord. They had little experience with my dad when they leased the place about a year ago, and in that time, he was diagnosed with cancer and lost a lot of weight. With that, his appearance changed drastically. Rick didn't realize he was speaking to the landlord and kept his rant going. As my dad was going to lay it out for him, he noticed on a table in the living area that there was a pipe of sorts. Paired with the behavior and appearance of Rick at the time, my dad concluded it was a pipe of sorts for drugs. He backpedaled out of the conversation and returned back up to our condo. When he got back in, he called the cops explaining the situation and what he saw. 30 minutes later, cops pull up and start talking to Rick, going off what my dad told him about the pipe. One of the cops noticed it, but this time out in the open with a bag next to it. At that point, it was revealed that they were smoking crack and they were both arrested. Along with that, my dad also evicted them from the property for violating terms, obviously. We ended up renovating the whole place afterwards because who knows how long they have been smoking that inside. And the upside is that the cardboard sign still hangs in the living room and gives us a laugh each time we pass. Edit: I see a lot of fuss over the handicapped spot, and let me confirm that neither Rick nor Tara had any disability or handicap. Also see a bunch of you quite mad about how we handled things. If you're a landlord and someone's smoking crack in a unit you're renting out to them, then most likely you're going to have them removed. I feel for the addicts that have corrected themselves. And I hope the best for Rick and Tara. Also, they are not locked up. They were in for an overnight, so please, just save my inbox the horrors. It was summer 2016. Me, little sister, and my cool cousin were bored as hell. So we decided to go to a public library. It's not that far, we could reach there in 5 minutes on foot. The library is my favorite place. It had everything. Novels, comics, you say it. But before we read, we need to write our name at a paper. This paper had a record of books that you read. Well, you need the membership card for that. We were reading books, my cousin reading something about science, sister reading something about space, and me, well, Harry Potter's book. We're reading in a special room. This room is only for the special members. We had these special memberships for 3 months. The room is awesome, comfortable seats and bunches of board games to play. And then came the entitled mother and her kid. The entitled mother is heading to the special room. I was like, oh god, oh damn in my head. She had the Karen haircut and it scares me. She gets inside and shouted, but not so loud. Get out! Cousin and sis were shocked. Excuse me? I tell her. You heard me. Get out. Cousin asks, why? What did we do? Just get out, you nerd. You see, the room is not that big. The seats only fit 4 people. And there is a play area behind the seats where you can play the board game. I said to her, what if we won't? The entitled mother huffed and headed to the register counter. She was complaining about us to the librarian. Then the entitled mother and the librarian came to us. The librarian tells us, I've got a complaint from this lady that you were harassing her to not get in. And if she gets in, you will beat her up. Is this true? What? No, my sister tells her. What? My cousin adds. Nope, that's not true at all. She was shouting at us to get out. Lady, is this true? The entitled mother in a scared tone. No. They are lying. May all of you get out so we could solve this problem. And we did. So, lady, what happened exactly? The entitled mother tells a bunch of BS and says we were threatening her. Okay, what about all of you? What happened? I tell him that this lady came to the room and shouted at us to get out and… Mom, can we get in? The entitled kid interrupts. Yes, let's go. They get in a room. But the librarian didn't do nothing. He asks, can you continue? So I told him everything. Okay, I will check the CCTV first. The entitled mother smugged at us from the room. I smugged to her too. She doesn't care, I let her kid play. After 3 minutes, the librarian get to the room. Ma'am, I will ask you to get out. What? Why? What you said was false. I've checked the CCTV, what the other kids said was true. No, I will not. I paid dollars for these special memberships. And this is how you treat me? Ma'am, please. I'll expose this place so nobody will come here again. The entitled mother and her kid get out. The librarian apologized to us, and me and the others continued to read in a room. The librarian said they both will be banned for 2 months. I still went to the library to this day and I never saw her again. Hopefully you enjoyed this story. Hey K-Korner family, if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Your comments keep our community vibrant. So please drop your thoughts below. Now, let's jump back into the action. I worked in an amusement park for almost 3 years and have many stories I love sharing about people at the park. But this one is my favorite gym in terms of stories, and I've waited patiently for the opportunity to share it. It's my 3rd season as a ride operator at this park. I happen to be working at the roller coaster that was my home unit for the vast majority of the time that I worked there, and I know the ride better than most people. We're nearing a shift change, important for later, so the lead is out doing his PM inspections with our extra rides team member. Meanwhile, I'm left in charge, which is pretty normal. So I'm operating this ride and I have 2 attendants checking restraints when they come across this lady that won't take her bag off. They are new at this. In fact, I think one of them had only gotten certified for the ride a few days prior. So when they can't persuade her, they call in their next reinforcement, which would be me. Enter our entitled mother. I say, hey, I'm sorry but you really can't have your bag on this ride. If you'd like, I can place it in our sliding bin that I close every cycle. Why can't you just watch it for me? I can't babysit your stuff for you because I'm busy operating a roller coaster. But you can take the bag off, put the contents in your pockets or in your husband's pockets, I don't really care. But the bag cannot be worn during the ride. But they let me wear it at other rides where they definitely didn't let her ride with it. Well, at this ride the rule is no bags. Come on, please let me wear it. I won't tell your supervisor. You can either wait in the exit with your bag or take it off. Your choice. The entitled mother won't budge. Dad is starting to seem a little annoyed with mom. Kids are like 11 to 13, so they are definitely old enough to be embarrassed by the situation, but I'm not giving them much attention. This back and forth is going on for at least 5 minutes now, which may not sound like much, but each ride cycle is supposed to be 2.5 minutes long, so I need to wrap this up already. I tell her one last time, ma'am, you either take the bag off or get yourself off and wait in the exit, or I can have security come and decide for you. I unlock her lab bar for the last time and she gets up in a huff. I finally send the train and the lady is upset waiting in the exit. I am honestly too nice for my own good and I start feeling bad that she's missing out on her day with her family. So now that I've refreshed my time, I decided to do a nice deal for her. I tell her if she gets a ride locker to put her stuff in, or if she purchases a fanny pack to put her stuff in at the store in the exit, that she could come back up my exit and I would let her ride with one of her kids. By this, I am not breaking any rules, but I'm going way out of my way to be nice to her. She keeps complaining about how her tiny bag couldn't possibly harm anyone or whatever, but I just reiterate the rules and how I would already be bending the rules to be giving her this one-time courtesy. My lead is back from PM inspections, and the other two attendants get him up to speed with the situation and go back to checking restraints. This is one of my favorite leads, by the way, like no one messes with this dude. I feel confident when he comes up that this situation will be behind us soon. He comes and calmly says, "Excuse me, ma'am." And before he can even get another word out, she starts exploding on him and cursing him out. I was done with her. I no longer wanted to help her. If anything, I want her to get banned from the park. Little did I know. My lead sees how upset I am and gets the other team member that went with him on PM inspections to take my place and sends me to my next ride for what was technically my next shift. I'm still pissed and shaken over it, so my lead at the other ride asks me if I want to go on break, and I decide to go. This is about 10 minutes after I left my ride, and I'm walking towards the employee cafe. On my way, I see a ride supervisor walking in the opposite direction. I say, "Hey X, where you headed?" "Oh hey, I am headed to store and ride exits where the entitled mother is at." And I immediately know exactly what's going on. He isn't headed there to argue with a guest about the price of some t-shirt, because after all, he's a ride supervisor. He's headed there as an even higher reinforcement after some serious stuff went down, aka our entitled mother throwing her tantrum over her bag. I get near the break area, we have our security dispatch near there. In fact, I see 2 emergency security guards sprinting in the direction of my ride. I'm at the break area eating my lunch in about 4 to 5 minutes and I see the other 2 attendants that were there and asked them what happened with the lady. She punched one of our co-workers who was about 17 years old, and the minor at that. So this lady got charged by the local police for assault and battery of a minor, had to pay him $400 for it, and got banned from the park. To this day I still feel bad for the kid, and her husband is probably still pissed. Other than that, I still haven't heard anything else about the entitled mother or her family since then. This guy was a cretin, a disgusting, creepy man. He dug his own grave by saying the things that he said, but I was the one that pushed him into it. Not for the things he said though, but for what he did to me. At the time I was working as a door-to-door salesman, and the day would start with everyone going to the office, then everyone getting into a car to drive to a different suburb. This was his first day and he was assigned to my car. His vibe was off-putting from the start. Every word out of his mouth was about women and sex. He started commenting on all of the female employees that he literally only just met. How hot they are, which ones he'd bang, just gross stuff like that. I was glad none of them were in a car to hear it, but at the same time, I wished one of them was. Perhaps with a girl in the car, he would have behaved himself. He then asked me about the women that work in our other branch in another city, since I used to work there. I was not comfortable objectifying them in that way, so I said, I am not going to answer that question. His reaction was disgraceful. I saw it in the rear view mirror. He whispered something to another guy, then did a hand gesture. I confirmed with the guy afterwards what the creep said, and he said, he asked me if you were gay. If you're wondering, the hand gesture was a stereotypical hand flip thing that people do to mock gay people. In case you're thinking that being called gay is what I got revenge for, don't. But on that topic, what was so screwed up about that accusation was that, in this creep's mind, not wanting to objectify women means you're gay. To him, objectifying women was a requirement for heterosexuality. No, what I wanted revenge for was a bit more bitty. At this point, we took a quick pit stop so we could get one last bite to eat before we reached the destination. He went to get his bag, which he left in my car boot, and he went to the boot and tried to open the door. He met resistance. Now, for most people, what I call smart people, if they try to open a door but can't, they reach the conclusion that it's locked. This, however, was not a smart person. In his mind, the reason why the boot wasn't opening is because he wasn't pushing the button hard enough. So what did he do? He pushed the button harder. He pushed the button so hard that he pushed it up into the door. He broke my car boot. I was so pissed. For the rest of the day, if any one of us needed to get stuff from the boot, we had to go through the rear seats. He denied doing it, but I saw him do it. I was in the driver's seat, watching him in the rearview mirror try to open the boot. I saw it the moment it happened, the panic in his eyes. Whatever though, we had a job to do, so I decided to sort it out later. I dropped everyone off at their individual streets. We got to work. After stewing on it, I decided I was going to get him fired. I just needed to figure out how. Luckily, he would dig his own grave. At the end of the day, I drove around town to collect everyone. I picked up the creep last. He got in the car and he said, "I just met the sexiest hottie you've ever seen." I started flirting with her, then her mom came to the door. Turns out the girl was 14 though, so I couldn't tell to her and the mom wasn't interested, but damn, I wish I could go back there. What in the absolute hell? The whole car went silent when he said that. I get that some people look older than they are. However, if you're a 30-year-old man and you're flirting with someone, the minute you find out they are 14, you shut up. You've made a mistake. Now pretend like it never happened. Don't double down on it and repeat the story to people as if you've done nothing wrong. However, this is all I needed. It was like a gift from creepy heaven. This guy loaded the gun, and all I had to do was pull the trigger. I told the boss the next morning and I told him everything. He said, "I'll have a chat with him." This was not the reaction I was hoping for, so I said no. You're going to fire him or I walk. I really didn't want to play that card, but I was one of the top salesmen, and I knew he wouldn't want to risk losing me. I was bluffing, but luckily he didn't call me on it. He did fire him that morning. The moment he walked into the office, boss pulled him aside. Shortly after that, the creep left and never came back. People asked what happened, so I let them know. The other guys in the car backed up my stories, and everyone agreed it was a right decision. The only guilt I felt was that it took him breaking my car to make me want him to get fired. He should have been fired for any one of the things he did. A better man would have reported him, regardless of the car incident. And that's a wrap for today on K-Korner. Thanks for hanging out with us and sharing in these wild experiences. Remember, life's an adventure and you're a part of ours. Keep spreading positivity and we will see you in the next video. Stay awesome, stay tuned, and as always, keep it crown.